WIll. It's your boy J.H. Gibbons here.
I'm WIll C.
And welcome to yet another episode of the Achromous podcast, episode 59. We want to welcome you again this Sunday at 9:30 a.m. Of course, if you are joining us on Spotify and you're listening, we thank you for listening and tuning in. If you are seeing our beautiful and smiling faces on YouTube, here's what I want you to do right now. I want you to hit that like button. I want you to hit that subscribe button, and please hit that notification bell so that the next time you hop on YouTube and you are scrolling through your feed, the Achromous podcast will have that new episode up for you and you can click it. It's right there for you. Most of all,
it is free to do so. Look, I tell you this every single week. I'm not going to stop saying it to you. Man, listen, there aren't many things free in life, but enjoy yourself to this. All these gems we drop it to you free of charge, free of service, just doing right. We want you to grow with us. We're trying to grow this community, and those who've been here since day one understand what this is about, and we're going to educate you on that as well. We're going to help you grow. So please make sure to hit that like button, smash everything that we're bringing to you, turn on that notification bell. So again, you can get the gems that we drop to you for free. And also, I like making sure to tell Jay this, remind them. So each and every week, do those things, guys. Thank you.
Terrible. Nothing in this world should be free, especially the gems that we're putting out there, man. But look, as we always say, what a week it has been. So this past week, I know we did have Rock Cartel on. Shout out to Rock Cartel. We had a great episode. We discussed so many things, including his new single, I Don't Care. We also talked a little bit about what he's going to be doing in music, which is coming from the teaching aspect, the mentor aspect of music now, which is something that I think he would fit that mold in perfectly. But the other aspect we did talk about was cryptocurrency. And if you are looking at the data now, if you're looking at your crypto wallets, you'll see that there has been some gains received recently. So as we always talk about, the market goes up and down, right? Regardless of market you're in, whether it's stocks or crypto, whatever you're in, there's going to be good days, there are going to be bad days. So we are now on the upslide, and maybe after this podcast comes out, we're back down. But just stick with it, keep rolling with the punches. They're always going to come. Rock, we wanted to thank you once again for coming on and being with us and sharing your insight on the business itself. And we will definitely have you on sometime in the future again, man.
Oh yeah, it's always a pleasure having Rock on. And Rock was dropping so many gems in this past visit. Very enjoyable. Took a lot of notes for self-growth and just kind of reflecting on myself personally. And we hope you did the same. And more importantly, also listening in to that new release, I Don't Care. Because the interpretation of how you explained it, it was perfect. But again, it is how you perceive it. And frankly speaking, it's just daring to just be you. Daring to learn about you, daring to not allow folks to tear you down, or to allow the naysayers or even yourself to do that to you because you matter. So yeah, Rock, we appreciate you, brother. Can't wait to have you back on.
Absolutely, man. And you brought up a good point, right? I mean, with I Don't Care, it's not listening to the naysayers or even the positive ones that are feeding a lot of that information to you. It's just about staying focused, having that linear progression, and you just keep going, you keep pushing through. And I think in order for you to get to that point, there's a lot of self-growth that has to happen, right? Because initially, if you're not too sure about yourself and you're going through something as big as starting your own music label or producing your own tracks or becoming a mentor in that space, it takes a lot of energy, it takes a lot of self-belief, it takes a lot of growth just to get to that point. But even starting on that track, I think it takes some discovery in yourself. Don't you think? We'll see.
Yeah, definitely. Man, like it's really all is about you and just kind of like how you feel about yourself. And I think if anything, Jay, just being honest, right, is the key to self-discovery. Just constantly being aware of what's going on, not allowing yourself to become negligent to what's happening around you, and more importantly to you. I think we go through these transitions in life, and we take on more than we probably need to sometimes avoid that inevitability that change has to happen if you want to grow in any fashion, or anything that you do that requires change. It will be difficult, But I think self-discovery in its own right is something that does require everything out of you because it requires complete focus of you. And I can relate to that because in the beginning of this journey for me, that's what happened. I had to go through this epiphany, if you will, and life circumstances and events to know that what I felt, the writing was already on the wall. I had to actually look at it and just, address myself. Because we could point the fingers and blame anyone else for how the events in our lives to turn it out in most cases, but sometimes we have to take the accountability to figure out where we stand and what we can do about it. And yeah, I knew that in my case in my life, I had to face myself and discover these revelations about how I was living and was it the best that I could be doing for myself at that point in time. Was I happy? Was I content to just stay as I was if I really wasn't happy? Like these are all the questions and more that you ask yourself. And no one is ever going to tell you that it's easy because you put yourself in this bubble. You're in this like this comfort zone, if you will, and you just kind of like stuck there. And you just kind of go through life like that. And unfortunately, so many people has went through life like that and then they're no longer here. And if you're fortunate enough to recognize that that's what's happening to you, the worst thing you could do to yourself is to be aware and to just let it happen, to not even try to fight against it, right? Because just like a current, until you go with the flow. But in this case of self-discovery, you don't want to just always do that. Sometimes you have to address things that need to be addressed in the moment so that you can learn more about yourself. Again, life isn't about taking losses. We adjust our L's to learning, right? It's a lesson to be learned. So I realized that even to this day, I'm still discovering things about my self-worth, about how to properly love myself, how to stand up for myself. When I feel that there's something that needs to happen, a change that needs to happen, or growth within myself. But before I can even dare to venture out to the world to address that to anyone or address anything, I got to address me first. What do you think about that, Jay?
I absolutely agree. Look, I mean, in order to address yourself, you have to know exactly who you are, right? You have to know that what you're going through is not something that aligns with what you believe your worth is. I think initially, if you're so stuck in something that you can't see the forest for the trees, you're gonna continue to go through life believing this is what is just meant for me. This is just how it is. This is how my life should be, not understanding that everybody's life is worth it, right? You're worth it. Anyone who's watching that, you should know that you are worth it. But it is important that you take those actions, you take those steps in order to understand what it means to truly discover yourself, right? And it's not just a buzzword that we want to put out there when we talk about self-discovery. We truly mean putting in the work to understand exactly what it means to be you, right? You are a unique person, you are a unique individual, you are who you are supposed to be. And when things don't, and I know we mentioned it on some of our earlier podcast episodes, but when things don't seem like they are right for you, then they aren't. I think a lot of the times we end up ignoring what our intuition is. We end up putting that aside because the circumstances don't allow us to kind of step outside of the boundaries that we put up for our own selves. So I think it's important that we understand that if we are going to take the path of truly trying to understand who we are, we have to step outside of our comfort zone first and foremost. We have to know that the next steps we're going to take are going to be very uncomfortable. We have to know that some of the friends, some of the people that we called family are not going to be there at the end of all of this. But what will be there at the end is a new you, the true you, the one that you were always supposed to be, but all the distractions that were around you in your life prevented you from getting to that stage. So I think to take that first step and understand that when you are stepping outside of your comfort zone, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be fun. Sometimes it may take an entire lifetime for you to actually understand who you are. That journey is worth it. It's well worth it because there's nothing worse than living a lie, especially if you know that you're taking part in the lie that you're living in.
Oh boy, yeah, that hurts when you're aware of it
Mhm.
and you allow yourself to go in this weird sense of like this weird autopilot mode, and you just tell yourself, "Oh, it's okay, it's all good. I'll get through it. I'll manage." I'll manage. Fake it till I make it.
Ooh,
Right? Sounds familiar.
oh my
Um,
God.
yeah. So it's like all those things happen, but what happens when when it's time to have some time to yourself to reflect on things, when you get ready to go to sleep and your mind is just kind of going through its thoughts, and you get up and you're living through this sense of groundhog day of like not being the best version of you that you could possibly be. What do you do? And let's be clear, what that means is different for every individual walking this earth, of being the best version of you, what that looks like. For me, that may mean something different than from Jay. And there's no sense of perfect, but you do know when you could just be better in life, where you can have a sense of joy. You can love yourself, you can appreciate yourself on a higher level when you are aware of those things, right? When you follow your gut, like when you're following like your intuition and like what's right or wrong inside, like you feel it. And what I have learned in my development is that when I get to a place now, Jay, that I feel overwhelmed, I check myself. I check why I'm feeling like that, and I try to work through those emotions so that I can, analyze what is happening to me, right? Because it is a sense of self-discovery, because we are constantly changing, adjust, adapt, evolve. We're constantly growing, we're constantly evolving, and we owe it to ourselves to take a step back when we start to feel like it's just too much of whatever is going on that's preventing your growth. And in doing so, you got to follow your emotions. You got to follow what that inside voice is telling you, because it was there.
Mhm.
Like I truly would not believe that anyone walking this earth could say that they don't know what that is. Unless you're at a place where you haven't begun to do the work because you're lying to yourself. And
Mhm.
if you are there, hopefully this helps you reevaluate some things for yourself, because it's time to grow, for you, for your loved ones, anyone that you hold near and dear to you that is a part of your support system. They're pulling through for you, they're rooting for you, but it starts with yourself. You got to be your own biggest supporter, is what I've learned. And especially through that growth, that part of the metamorphosis of self-discovery, and just channeling, um identifying who you are again. What does that look like for you? Your place in the world, where you fit in for you, um your identity of like, when I see you, I should be able to identify, at least based on your aura, who you are, because you know who you are. So a lot of the times we say all the time, Jay, like what, like we go in a room, we're gonna stand out. You're gonna know our presence is there. You may not know me, but I will stand out, because I have enough awareness in my growth to understand who I am becoming.
Mhm.
Now, who you were isn't always who you were meant to be. Who we were yesterday isn't who we're meant to be today. Who I was 5 years ago, it's not who I'm meant to be today. You know what I'm saying? Put it in retrospect, I was a husband, what, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and I'm not now. I'm a single father with my beautiful children, just trying to survive, trying to make it, trying to grow. I'm trying to learn who I am in this part of my life, and it isn't always easy to do. But I'm willing to be brave to challenge myself, because I owe it to me. I owe it to my children. I owe it to my support system. And at the end of the day, I do matter. You guys matter too. And I think that's really what's important, Jay, when it comes to why you got to be willing to take a look inward, and approach that realm of self discovery.
I absolutely agree, Will C. And I know there are members of our community who are probably sitting there and they're like, man, sometimes I'm just too afraid to look at the man or woman in the mirror and come to grips with who I am now versus who I know I can be. Forget about the fact that I might have the potential to be who I can be. Am I willing to put the work in to get there? And I know there are many people who are worried They're afraid of stepping out into that unknown realm where they don't know who is going to be there on the other side, right? As I mentioned before, they're probably going to be friends or family members that no longer support you on your journey, on your journey to self-discovery, because that isn't what they had planned for you. Imagine that, right? That isn't the life that they had planned for you, but you have to be the one that's in charge of your life. If you are hearing this right now, know that you should be in charge of your life. You should be in charge of the decisions you make. While it is important that you think of others who are close to you, whether it's your own children, your family, keep all of them in mind when you're making these decisions, because they are also part of whatever journey you're going on. But it's important to also spend time putting yourself first, because at the end of the day, you're all you got. You can't, we'll see, you said it before, you came in alone, you'll go out alone. So it's vital, it's absolutely vital that you understand not only that it takes an incredible amount of effort to discover who you are, but to stay true to yourself through all of the crap that you'll go through. It is also vital that you do so.
Yeah, yeah. And in that process, just to add on to that, know that it's okay that the path of discovering yourself might lead to having to part ways with people you thought would be in your life for a lifetime. Listen, I couldn't have imagined certain events in my life going the way it's went, and that I'd be here today as I am. But I am grateful for them. I am thankful for them. And it is unfortunate that I've had to part ways with folks in my life that I loved so much. And but in understanding with those same people, I didn't love me during that time enough to know that I wasn't receiving back the love I should have gotten. And that's where I'm at now, where in my life of self discovery, I'm understanding the importance of my worth, so that the time that we spend that isn't a luxury, really, that we can afford to waste, is invested into those who's going to give me unconditional love, support, effort, and just be there like I am for them, uh, sincerely, because we don't have that time to waste. I don't have that time to waste. I'll be 35 in a couple of weeks. I've lived all this time of my short lifespan, and I'm just coming into my sense of awareness within the last few years. And at one point, Jay, I would beat myself up, feel bad about it, but then I realized there are some folks that go their whole life without not even discovering that. So I thank my Lord and Savior for allowing me to, for taking me through the hardships that I've gone through and that I'm still going through, so that I'm aware of my worth, so that I know that I matter and I have a purpose unfulfilled. And that's what I've learned in my self-discovery journey, and just growing in that way. And it's the hardest thing you'll ever do. And that's why a lot of people stray away from that sort of topic, Jay, honestly, because it's the
Yeah,
hardest thing to do, man. Change is so hard.
yeah,
Um, but the reality of it is, guys, change is happening all the time. We're changing right at this moment, and it's
yeah.
out of our control. So why not try to grab control of that journey of self-discovery for you, so you adjust and change the narrative as much as you can with the gift of life choice that you've been given. I challenge you to do that, not for anyone else but yourself. And I promise you, as much turmoil inward that you may go through in that process, you will have a sense of joy and pride in a way that you never experienced in your life before. If you're used to being someone who's an empath, you will have that sense of victory, as an unsung hero, right? Um, but you will have that, and it's nothing more rewarding than treating yourself the way you should be treated, and growing and knowing that you're better for it, right? So I just wanted to make sure to share that, Jay, to not allow those outside voices, and as Rock said last week, don't care about it, but care about you enough. Just care about you.
Well said. That's well said. And I do think that if you do care about yourself, if you do take the time to invest in yourself, self-discovery would be something that you would understand it's well worth it, because at the end of it all, you will be so comfortable with who you are. As Will C said, you can walk into a room and you understand that you control the room. The aura is just different when you walk in it, because you are so comfortable in your own skin. You're comfortable with your own mind. You're comfortable where you are in general. It would feel so much easier. It takes time to get there, ladies and gentlemen. It is not an overnight thing that you can do to discover who you are. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of time. But when you put that time in, when you invest the time, not only is the journey going to be well worth it, but once you discover who you were always meant to be, I can guarantee you your life would be much more fulfilling.
Yeah, and that's what it comes down to, everyone, and on the path of self-discovery and enlightenment in life. But it's a path you got to choose. Uh, you know, communicate to the reference of the Matrix, but you got a choice. Everyone has a choice, as I've been learning my whole life, and the power of it is up to you, and it dictates your path in life. So choose you. It's time. Why waste any more time? Time is now.
Time is now. Time is of the essence. Time is not guaranteed to any of us. So you're right. Why waste another second? Start working on yourself. And at this time, I want to turn it over to you all, to our community, Achromous community that's been with us since day one, all the way to episode 59. I want you all to now take the time and really, really ask yourself this. What has been your self-discovery path? What does that look like for you? What does that feel like for you? Where are you now versus where you used to be? And what else is left for you to discover? The best answer that we can get, the best reply, the most detailed reply will be featured on the next episode of the Achromous podcast. So stay tuned to that. And again, we want to thank you for joining us this Sunday as we all continue to discover who we are and who we truly were meant to be. Again, it's a tough road. It's a very tough road ahead, but as long as you invest the time in yourself, as long as you continue to make progress, you can continue to check off those many milestones as you go. I can guarantee you that the growth that you make over an incredible amount of time is going to be so well worth it, man. So well worth it.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. 'Cause at the end of it all, it's a constant reminder of your of self-worth, that you know that you matter, and that's what's the most important of all. So we hope that this is a good reminder to you today, that you allow these gems to soak in, and we're looking for that feedback, guys. Give us some of that feedback so that we know where you are as a community. We want to have an understanding. Enlighten us a bit. Let us grow with you. We say it all the time, but we're here to grow with you. So please definitely do those things. I mean, Jay, how could they reach out to us?
Well, you know it, man. If you are looking at us on YouTube, you already know what to do, right? You know to hit that subscribe button, you hit that notification bell, and you hit that like button. Of course, you got to hit all three of those. Now, you can't hit just two, you can't hit just one. If you are on our page, you might as well hit three, and I'll tell you why. Especially if you hit that notification bell, what will happen is this. You will log on to YouTube. You will be looking for one of the greatest personal development, self-help podcasts that there are out there that deal with goal setting and habit building. You'll see the Achromous podcast. You'll hit that next video that you see of us. You'll watch the video in its entirety, and you'll love every second of it. And it's crazy. I don't understand it, but most of all,
Again, guys, beginning of the episode, we made sure to let you know, and I'm going to remind you again now, it is free to do all those things. Jay just wonderfully broken down for you. So I'm not even going to waste any more time on it, because we know it's free at this point.
this is incredible. All of this should be in a book. We should charge it $1 million each copy. It is insane that we have 59 episodes of pure gold that we're sitting on. You guys just need to continue to discover it, man. For those who have been with us from the beginning, and for those who are now joining us, we want to thank you. We want to thank you for joining us. And look, self-discovery in general is tough, as we've mentioned, but as long as you carve out those three ways, that path that you take, whether it's stepping outside of your comfort zone or following your gut, following that intuition, and just experiencing life, I can guarantee you that you would one day get to truly understand who you are. And our next guest for the Achromous podcast in episode 60, we know that this young lady is truly on the path of self-discovery. She has recently started a cleaning company called Fresh Home Cleaning. She is also a mindset coach, so it is right in our wheelhouse. I know we'll have a great conversation with her. And also, she was recently named one of the new faces of business leadership in North Bethesda here in Maryland. Next week, we'll have on none other than Alejandra. We are excited to have her on the Achromous podcast to really talk about her own journey into getting where she is today, both on the fitness side and the mindset side. I know it's going to be incredible. And we'll see you. We both know this. We're going to pick her brain when it comes to business, because I know that that is the wheelhouse that we all want to get into. We know entrepreneurship is a hot topic, but we really, really want to get details on where she is, how she got there, and what she plans on doing for her future.
Yeah, it should be another exciting episode. It always is when we have guests on. And you have the privilege of watching this episode and learning first. So if you have any questions or anything you guys may be interested in, this might be a good opportunity to also DM us. Comment on this content when you see it drop and just let us know. And we'll be sure to take that all in consideration as we have an awesome discussion with Alejandra. So I'm looking forward to it.
I am too, man. Look, it's been yet another great Sunday. We want to thank you once again for joining us on the Achromous podcast. We want you to enjoy the rest of your Sunday, enjoy the rest of your week, and join us back here next Sunday when we have Alejandra on our show and we get to really dive into it. Until next Sunday, it is your boy, J.H. Gibbons.
And we'll see.